How are you?
Thank you very much. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Although this beautiful weather and in this special afternoon, and I would like to address some words regarding the Torrijos Carter treaties that many of you don't know. The privileged position of Panama from the time of the conquest of the Spanish Empire was essential for its expansion and the success of the campaigns that were carried out from our countries, such as the conquest of Peru and Chile, crossing the narrow path of the Isthmus, the narrowest territory of the American continent. Communication between the Atlantic and the Pacific was facilitated by the existence of the Chagres River Valley. From Panama, with the guidance and knowledge of our natives, they were the first Europeans to sight the South Sea, as the Pacific Ocean is known today. From then on, Panama becomes a center for exploration and conquest. The riches of gold and silver which were found in the Inca Empire were transported through the Isthmus of Panama, as well as the pearls that were found by divers in the depths of the Perlas Archipelago in our country. This is known as transitism, which is the exploitation of Panama's geographical position to connect two oceans, but also to transport goods. Simón Bolívar wrote in his famous Jamaican letter in 1815 that qué bello sería que el Istmo de Panamá fuese para nosotros lo que es el de Corinto para los griegos. How wonderful will be that the Isthmus of Panama is for us what the Corinthus is for the Greeks. The gold rush began in the mid-19th century due to the discovery of this precious metal in California, and the railroad was built in Panama in 1850, which was a private United States investment to transport those who were after the treasure. As a result of the railway expansion in the territories of the United States in 1869, coinciding with the inauguration of the Suez Canal, the Isthmus of Panama becomes attractive to build a canal through its territory. Thus begins the construction of the Interoceanic Passage by a French company, the same one that built the Egyptian Passway in 1888. When this attempt failed, and when the construction of this water route was presented as something essential for world trade, the United States tried to negotiate with Colombia because, in keeping with Simón Bolívar's ideal, we remain part of Colombia, even though the ideal of La Gran Colombia had already failed. However, this negotiation was rejected by the Colombian government, which caused Panamanian economic and political groups to conspire to found a country independent of Colombia. The independence of Panama from Colombia is associated with the construction of the Panama Canal through the Isthmus, resuming the works that the French had begun. The nefarious treaty known as Hey-Buno-Varilla was signed on November 18, 1903, only 15 days after the Declaration of Independence of Panama, at the residence of U.S. Secretary of State John Hay, a treaty that no Panamanian signed because Mr. Philippe Buno-Varilla was a partner of the French Canal who only intended to protect his interests. This treaty had to be ratified by the young republic because the government of Theodore Roosevelt had to justify before the Senate the hostile actions it has undertaken against a friendly country such as Colombia, and Panama was a province of it, in support of the longing for independence of our heroes. The dissatisfaction of the Panamanians with the signed treaties increased as the year passed, and likewise the attempts to renegotiate the Hey-Buno-Varilla Treaty multiplied. Once General Omar Torrijos took office in 1968, the cost to recover the sovereignty over the control of the Panama Canal and the Suez Canal zone became a national struggle for liberation and decolonization in one of two ways, violent or peaceful. From 1964 to 1977, when the Torrijos Carter Treaties were signed, Panama had to deal with complex negotiations. We celebrated the 45th anniversary of the treaty in September 7 of last year. Panama chose the peaceful way to recover what it belonged to it. In 1975, on Contadora Island in the Las Perlas archipelago, a group to support the negotiations was formed, made up of Costa Rica, Colombia, and Venezuela, Mexico joining later. It was vital support in getting a fair treaty. 1966 was the most difficult year of the negotiation. General Torrijos condemned in several forums what is known as the Fifth Order, which is how the Canal Zone was known. On September of 1977, at the headquarters of the Organization of American States, OAS, in Washington, in the presence of the leaders of Latin America, the Caribbean, and some of the from the rest of the world, General Omar Torrijos and President Jimmy Carter signed two treaties, the Permanent Neutrality Treaty and the Panama Canal Treaty. Its ratification was not easy before the U.S. Senate, and it was approved with 68 votes, only one more than it needed for approval. One of the most, this is not in my script, but one of the most enthusiastic lobbyists for the ratification was the actor John Wayne. Thanks to Democratic President James Carter and his commitment, this historic agreement was reached and the principle of non-intervention were included. It was an extraordinary victory, especially for a small country like Panama. It was the proof that negotiations and fair claims from the Panamanian side and the support of the international community is the way to achieve a goal after many years. The Great Conquest is summed up in the fact that perpetuity, consigned in the treaty that ruled the Panama Canal and the presence of the United States in the Isthmus, disappeared. The canal concession passed into oblivion, sovereignty returned to the national territory, eliminating the Canal Zone as a colonial structure and all its institutions. Panamanians were incorporated into the administration and management of the interoceanic route. Thanks to that treaty, the 14 military bases that had been established in our territory were dismantled. Panama accomplished it through the support and tenacity of many international leaders and intellectuals practicing multilateralism. Since December 31st, 1999, Panama managed its geographical position and owns its canal with great success. I have to thank here the municipality of Ankara for all the support and interest to grant this park in reciprocity of the space that have given to Turkey in the city of Panama, where there will be a statue of Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. Also to the personnel of my embassy for all the effort to make this dream come true, and all of you for your attendance in this hot day. A special mention should go to former President Jimmy Carter, that is on his last days, for the comprehension that time had come to be fair with Panama. A Panamanian culture is based on peace and the care of its precious strategic value and put it at the service of the world. Thank you very much.
Es un gran placer estar hoy aquí con ustedes con motivo de la inauguración del arbusto diseñado para conmemorar el 45 aniversario de los tratados Torrijos-Carter. We are fully aware of the importance of the Torrijos-Carter treaties as a turning point in independent and sovereign Panama's history. These treaties, granting Panama full sovereignty over the Canal Zone and reaffirming Panama's territorial integrity, also represent the masterpiece of the success of the Panamanian diplomacy over years of meticulous negotiations. This plaque bust, in addition to its historical significance, also stands as a testament to our constantly improving relations with Panama. Our relations, as this monument symbolizes, have been built upon mutual trust and respect. As we mark this significant milestone in the history of Panama here today, we also look forward to witnessing the unveiling of many more monuments that signify the strength of our relations. In the near future, indeed, on the occasion of the centennial anniversary of the proclamation of the Republic of Turkey, we look forward to honoring our great leader, founder of the Republic, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, by inaugurating his bust in Panama City. We are grateful to the Panamanian authorities for their support and assistance in realizing this endeavor. En conclusión, Aprovechamos esta oportunidad para reafirmar nuestro compromiso de ampliar y profundizar nuestras relaciones entre Turquía y Panamá.
Mansur
Gracias.
Yavaş and myself and the people of Ankara. I would like to present my sincere greetings to you all. With your esteemed presence, we came together in our city to inaugurate the plaque of symbolizing the Torrijos Carter treaties, which ensures Panama's right to control its own borders. This agreement, which is of great importance for the history of Panama and signed after long diplomatic negotiations for the 6 years.
Okay.